Now then, before all of that, it has been 12 days since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began. The UN estimates that more than 1.5 million refugees have now left Ukraine. And over the weekend, the world looked on in horror as Russian forces targeted civilians attempting to flee.
Well, lots of us have been wondering how we can help, and our first guest today was one of the many hoping to make a difference after appealing for donations on social media. Oliver Hulsman was overwhelmed by the response, and earlier this morning he completed an almost 2,000-mile journey from his home in Suffolk to deliver 3 lorry loads of donations to the Ukrainian border.
Well, Oliver and his team are now on their way home. He joins us live now alongside fellow volunteer Darius Linkas from the roadside in Romania, which neighbours Ukraine. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning.
Full of admiration and awe. Well done. An amazing job. So how did this start? I mean, like many of us, Oliver, were you sort of watching the telly thinking, what the hell can I do?
Absolutely. My wife is Eastern European. She's Lithuanian, and this is how I know Darius. And Darius was going to be driving a truck to Ukraine to deliver aid on his own. And, you know, I couldn't just stand around and just watch TV and do nothing. So I just volunteered to be the co-pilot on the journey. Put a Facebook post up on literally last Monday asking for donations, which then was shared 1,000 times or something. My niece's cafe, Folk Cafe, shared that. And it just absolutely snowballed to the point where we generated, up to the point of leaving, over 120 tons of donations. Luckily, the stars aligned that my sister actually runs a charity called Gee Whiz, and she helped manage this and really make it a smooth operation of a team of volunteers, haulage companies to help deliver. And we've so far sent out 12 7.5-ton trucks and 3 40-foot lorries to the various points across Ukraine for aid, as well as our convoy, which literally just dropped off the aid this morning, about an hour ago. So
obviously you've had an incredibly busy morning there. What's it like? What did you arrive to?
You know, obviously the journey was hard, but it's nothing compared to what these people are going through on the ground. I've been standing here for 5 minutes waiting to go on live, and it's -5 and I'm freezing. These people are standing in the cold for days, walking for hundreds of kilometers. And even at the borders, there were queues of 2 or 3 kilometers of people, of mothers and children carrying all of their worldly belongings in, beyond freezing temperatures, as well as losing their homes. It's a humanitarian crisis, and it's literally beyond heartbreaking.
Darius, have you got a sort of cargo company? Have you got the facilities that were initially needed to get this moving?
Yes, I have these facilities. I have lots of partner companies in Europe, same Lithuanian companies, Polish companies, same Ukrainian companies who can help us deliver all this aid for people which one they need in Ukraine.
Obviously, where you are now on that side of the border, it's safer than being in Ukraine at the moment. However, doing that journey, going there, I know, Oliver, your wife was nervous about you heading in that direction, wasn't she?
Yes, so obviously you're very nervous about the drive, not only just the conditions of driving, but, going through Romania, going through countries, where there are issues of security. Without the connections that Darius has with the Ukrainian army and the border controls at those points where we could get the aid in, this really would be a wasted journey for anybody just thinking they want to get a truck and drive aid over. There are so many loopholes and issues that would then create more problems than you're trying to solve. So if anybody is looking to do this, they really need to think twice about this and really take a measured response to how best they can help, whether it's aid, whether it's donating money to the right organisations, etc. Well, because it's definitely not paying harm.
Alice is here. She's going to be talking about that in a moment, how we can all help. And the thing is, I mean, you mentioned the borders there. We're going to discuss this later on, that I think our response on our borders would appear to be fairly woeful at the moment. Were you OK getting everything out of Britain?
There were some legal loopholes that we had to go through, humanitarian documentation, again with contacts from Darius, to be able to get those. My sister's charity, Gee Whiz, kind of verified charity to allow us to do that, as well as some freight documentation that we had to show at the UK borders to bring it into mainland Europe. From that point, the main issue then is the Hungarian border going into Romania, showing it's humanitarian, showing it's the right kind of aid rather than, just using it as a cover to bringing goods into Europe.
Yeah.
So not only did you want to bring aid there, but you were also helping those who were fleeing the war. And you've got a family that you met this morning who you're taking to Vienna.
Again, one of Darius's friends in Vienna, he was kind of helped facilitate these contacts with the Ukrainian forces and border controls to allow us into Ukraine, where we drop the goods and bring it back. His family needed to be extracted or taken out of Ukraine. And because of the what we were doing and where we were going, we were perfectly placed to pick them up and bring them with us. And they're in there being fed right now. And we will take them on to Vienna to be with their family.
God, well done.
We obviously don't want to identify them, but Darius, when you met them, and both of you, when you met them, what was their reaction to seeing you and knowing that you had the transport to get them somewhere warm and safe?
It was very accepted, and just because they're standing in queue like for 8 hours outside, very snowing and -5. So we just get hot tea for them in warm car, put heating on, but we can chill out.
Yeah, I mean, they're the same age as my children at home and Darius's children at home, the daughter and the grandmother. The daughter's 11 years old, and the grandmother probably can't disclose her age. But it's even for a grown man to be in those kind of conditions is dangerous. And there's hundreds of thousands of these people in similar, if not more vulnerable situations, queuing up in that kind of conditions. It's heartbreaking.
Well done to both of you.
Oh, well done.
Will you go back? Have you got plans to do this again?
Yes.
Huh.
Until the war is over, we will go and try and facilitate as many journeys as we can in the right way, to wherever it is needed. There are so many borders and parts of the borders where they have more aid than they can manage, but there are certainly areas where there is a lack of that kind of support, and we'll make sure that that's kind of getting to the right areas and doing the right thing.
Well done,
All right,
guys.
thank you
Well
both.
done.
Thank you very much.